Oh, hello there. I was just preparing some vegetables for the stew I'm making for dinner. You're welcome to keep me company if you'd like. I certainly don't mind. You know, you lived here all alone in this large estate all by yourself. And before you brought me to live here, I don't think that you were getting proper meals. Am I right? Everyone should know how to make delicious home-cooked meals for themselves. If anything were to happen to me, or I were to become indisposed, I fear that you might go hungry. Here, let me teach you a little bit about cooking. I'll walk you through the steps, okay? Now, I've already finished dicing up these potatoes and onions, and we'll chop up the carrots in a little while. Now over here we have our meat and spices. The beef is fresh from a local farmer from the village. See how well marbled it is? Those white veins of fat mean that the meat will be extra tender once the stew is finished. Now I'm going to season the meat generously with salt, pepper, and balsamic vinegar. Now I've had this pot over here on the stove heating up specifically so that it will be nice and hot once we get ready to add the first of our ingredients. Let's go ahead and put our meat in there so that it can start to get nice and caramelized. Perfect. Okay, now in goes the onion, garlic, and potatoes to get nice and brown. There. It already smells delicious. Someone once told me long ago that you can never have enough garlic when it comes to cooking. Now, we're going to leave those alone for a little while, but we'll come back to them soon enough. We don't want the carrots to be mushy, so we won't add those for quite a while, towards the end of the cooking process. But now we need to make the base for the stew. Here we go. I made this tomato paste earlier in the week, fresh with the tomatoes from your garden. It's got lots of delicious spices in it, so it will contribute perfectly to the stew. Someday, I'll teach you how to make that as well, just in case. Alright, so now, for the base of the stew, we have wine, tomato paste, flour, beef stock, and our spices. First, we'll add the flour and tomato paste. Now let's add our wine and our beef stock. And finally, the spices. Sugar, bay leaves, thyme, onion powder, and more salt and pepper to finish it off. Now, let's give it a good stir to get everything mixed together. This simply smells heavenly. In about 2 hours, we'll be ready to add the carrots. It will simmer for a little bit after that, then voila! Dinner will be served. I'm going to cut up these carrots so that they'll be ready when the time comes. Oh, I nearly forgot to mention. A messenger came by earlier today and left that letter for you. He wouldn't say who it was from or what it was about. I don't recognize the crest on the outside of the envelope, so I don't suppose I have a guess either. Why don't you open it up and see what it's about? What? It's for me? That's certainly strange. Let me have a look if you wouldn't mind. Kalita of House Hesphalia, it is with a heavy heart that I send this message to you. It is my hope that this letter should find its way to you, as your whereabouts have been uncertain since the end of the Hyclatian War. I write this message to inform you that your eldest sister Eurabelle, as well as your mother, matriarch of House Asphalia, Lady Corinne, have been discovered alive. The reason for the urgency in this correspondence is that they are currently being tried for attempted murder for the botched attack on the Emperor of Hyclatia, to whom they had served as slaves in his manor since the beginning of their captivity, shortly following the Hyclatian marauder attack on the village. A failed attempt at poisoning the Emperor has led to the public announcement that they are to be executed by the end of the coming cycle of the moon if no one from the village comes to their defense. The Hyclatians, while barbaric, believe strongly in debate and a fair trial. Your other siblings have been gathered to speak in your mother and sister's defense on the day of the trial, and it's with this information that we humbly request your presence as well. As the current matriarch of House Asphalia, your testimony shall play a valuable role in the negotiation of the trial. With the highest regards, your younger brother, Obenna, of House Asphalia, Knight of the King's Royal Guard. My mother, my sister, they're alive. Oh my, what am I gonna do? This is so much to think about. I need a moment to think. Please forgive me. I need to be alone for a while. I'll be back down in a few hours to finish preparing dinner. I'm terribly sorry. I have to go try to understand all of this.